Hi, this is János, it's Revert Audio, and I'm following up on the questions and comments I received on the video on Sheldon's Voigt pipes. And when we scroll down, thank you for your Christmas wishes, really, really wonderful. And here, the first question that we really want to have a look at is your thoughts on the Audio Nirvana Alnico 8 in these cabinets. I have them in Bass Reflex cabinet right now, and would it be the next? This would be the next level, I think. Great channel, by the way. Thank you, Sissons. And yes, I think the Alnico 8s would be great in these cabinets. I have a series on the Audio Nirvana drivers, and back then I mentioned that the Alnico 8, that would be my favorite from the Audio Nirvana line to try out for Voigt pipes. So definitively I would think to go for them, go for the Voigt pipe cabinet for the Alnicos, and compare to the Bass Reflex cabinet how it would sound. So basically in the Bass Reflex cabinet it's easier to find a room for them, so they will be less fussy about the room. So if you have bigger problems, like your room needs a lot of treatment, or the too many objects in the room, like you have lots of cabinets overloaded with furniture, and it's kind of like stuffy, then they will not like that. The Voigt pipes do not like stuffy spaces. They like nice open spaces and long rooms. So if it doesn't need to be long, but you need to have an impression that it visually, that the room has some length to them, even if it's just let's say like 4 meters long room that's like what's that, 14 feet or something like that. That's kind of like really small for them, and in that room they won't be able to produce low bass. But if you want to have the best with Voigt pipes to make them more worthy to build than Bass Reflex cabinet, I would say you need at least maybe 6 meters, so that's like 18 feet long room at least. So if you have at least 18-foot long room, 6 meters long, then I would say that's when the Voigt pipe will start to shine over the Bass Reflex cabinet, and the difference will be that the bass will be much more organic and much faster compared to a Bass Reflex cabinet's bass. And what I've noticed is that it is not that obvious when you go from a Bass Reflex to a Voigt pipe. But once you live with a Voigt pipe for about a year, and then you put it back into the Bass Reflex cabinet, then you will be just frozen with horror to experience the massive drop in the bass quality. And that's because in the Voigt pipe it will give you nuances, shadowings in how the bass is represented, that the ear is not usually expecting to hear those kinds of details, because you don't hear them in Bass Reflex cabinets, and it's kind of like your hearing will grow to appreciate what they can do. And once your hearing has been upgraded to that level, that you are noticing those new elements in the bass that you have not had before, then when you go back to Bass Reflex, you notice that oops, there's brute force, but a lot of those things that I heard now, they have disappeared, and it just sounds like someone instead of like having a wooden statue, it's just like ground down to chipboard. That's kind of like the feel that I get between bass reflex bass and the Voigt pipe bass. And however, with bass reflex bass, it can improve a lot if it's in a really huge cabinet. Um, but but anyway, the Voigt pipe is still clearly the winner over bass quality, I think. Um, Another question, very nice from Gabriel Nielsen. I will build a Voigt pipe as soon as possible. Can they rock at plus 100 dB? So actually, that question can be only answered by what is the equipment driving them. So if the equipment driving them can has the ability to control at high volumes, yes, then they can rock. And yes, they can definitively go a little bit beyond 100 dB. They cannot do 110 dB. So I have some friends for whom the can they rock is answered by can they play at 120 dB. So basically, if you have Altec voice of the theaters, they are pushing those to the extreme limits of what they can produce with SPL. If no, the answer for that in that case is that they definitively cannot do 120 dB or 110 dB, but like 101, 2, 3, 100, yeah, about 100, 304, they can, provided your amplifier and your source can do that. But I would say here the same warning goes as goes with Le Petit, that these are revealing speakers. So if the amplification and sources have problems, they will show those problems. And especially in the high frequencies, so if there's high frequency instability in the system, they will show it. And if you try to rock with a system that's unstable, that will be very, very painful. And in that case, a Servin Vega would be much, much better to rock. But provided you have some good amplification, they definitively can rock. Although if the purpose is just to play freaking loud, I would rather go with Servin Vega or something like that, because here they can play reasonably loud and definitively they can play rock music. But if the purpose is to have like a party speakers, then I would not choose these as party speakers. But if it's just like for your pleasure to listen whatever you want, it's really something truly fantastic. But definitively not the 110 dB range. I would say just 100-ish. However, what is another advantage with them is that you won't have the need to push them to play crazy freaking loud, because for most speakers we are playing them so loud because at lower volumes they sound so freaking lame. And the big advantage with these speakers is that you can play them quieter and they still sound good. They are not the quote-unquote most suitable for quote-unquote rock music, because they are not EQing the sound. A lot of speakers that people use for rock has a lot of extra EQ on the bass to EQ it up. And so it will depend a lot whether they rock on the music you listen to. Is it mixed as level as possible so that the bass is not pushed down? Then yes, it will rock. If the music is mixed like an 80s style, not all of the 80s, but many of the 80s, so that the highs are hot as hot potatoes and the bass is cut like 10 dB lower than the mid-range, then they will show them like that to you, and they will be quite astonishing to listen to, because you will hear them as they were recorded for the first time, but they won't be presented in like Servin Vega style, not at all. So thank you Mihailo and Les. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, thank you. And Eric is asking another big question, is that he has parts for Le Petit, because we were talking nowadays about Le Petit, and Jürgen has built his Le Petit, and there's more Le Petit that I will share with you. And of course I also thought, after talking so much about Le Petit, that I will build my Le Petit as well. And I don't just want it to be a carbon copy, a clone, another Le Petit. I don't really need another speaker in my life, truly, because the ones I have, my Voigt pipe and the voice of Lancelot, they are, frankly, I don't think that that I can build or anything close to them, and they are truly just astonishing speakers. But why I am doing it as an experiment, to see how it compares to them, and I can share that with all of you. And definitively there is a very big difference between Le Petit and the taller Voigt pipes. I mean, that Voigt pipe that I built and that I recommend with those dimensions. However, my Le Petit, what I'm going to do is taking up an experiment, because when you read Jean Hiraga's article on Le Petit, he says this is not the best that can be done with this architecture, with these drivers. It can be improved upon, but the form Le Petit is something that's very easy to build and accessible to anyone. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take up the thought experiment of possibly what Jean Hiraga would have built if he would have taken Le Petit to that road that he hinted at, that we can tweak it, we can do some changes that will make it, elevate it even more, to bring out more than what the Le Petit cabinet brings out of it. So that's what I'm going to do in the next probably 2 weeks or so. Is going to show that, but even in that shape, it's going to bridge the gap between it and the Voigt pipe, but it still will not be able to play as deep, and it won't be as dynamic, and it won't be able to play as loud and as effortless as a Voigt pipe. That's just the laws of physics, that the bigger cabinet, a bigger driver in the Voigt pipe is able to produce. That's just laws of physics. And however, there's other considerations as well, and one of them, so Eric continues that to understand his second question, you need to remember that we mentioned that Le Petit requires a very high quality amplifier to play with it. Otherwise, not otherwise, it's because you will hear how your amplifier sounds, and it won't make your amp sound pretty. It will make your amp sound the way your amp sounds, and it won't hide its weaknesses. it's not a pretend loudspeaker. It's I give you reality loudspeaker, and that works against 99% of commercial amplifiers, but it works hugely, hugely, hugely in favor of those amplifiers that are truly great amplifiers. So Eric asked, do I have a recommendation under 500 euros, new or used? And until I read that, I said, nope, no way. And then he continues, I have a 15-year-old Micromega integrated amp, and when I read that, yes, use it. The Micromega integrated, that will work with both Le Petit and both with Voigt pipes. So that will make enjoyable sound, because it was built to have a natural good sound, and it's one of those rare amplifiers for that are like at an affordable price, and they won't turn into a shrieking monster if you hook them up to Le Petit or a Voigt pipe. Yeah, so hold on to the Micromega, and in case you decide either Le Petit or the Voigt pipe, you will have a very pleasant experience. So I think probably that's it for today, because we are pushing 16 minutes. So we will continue from here. So have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and thank you for the questions and comments. Please like and subscribe. And also, if you like my videos, I have that buy me a coffee thingy, where you can figuratively buy me a coffee, which is like send a few dollars as thanks, as like a contribution to help me to be able to continue this channel in the future. So thank you, have an awesome new year, bye bye.